Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us again. This is Mike at the Help Desk, and today we're going to do a quick tour of the NEO staff reports. So to get started, we're going to log into NEO here, and this will be in our test environment as always. And so long as you have access as a NEO staff admin, you'll have the staff option up top here. And this will take us over to the NEO staff module. And then once we are here, there is a tab up top called Reports. And this will be our focus today as we're going to go through each one of these just with a little bit of detail. And so we'll start right up at the top. First one is the Staff Details Report by Course. And this one, as well as the one below it, as you'll see, there's only one key difference between these two. And there's, we'll just select our school here. For the training video, we're just going to use the Maine DOE here. We've got a couple of folks. We're going to be blurring out some of these, just because I believe there is some actual folks' information there, but we can still see Bob Buckrantle. And basically the report, like all the NEO reports, we've got it built into the web browser here, but if you like, you can feel free to hit this little floppy disk icon. And this will be an export option, so you can spit this out as a CSV or an Excel file, if you would prefer to get it into your own spreadsheets and be able to do your own filtering, that kind of thing. Usually that's going to be helpful. So that's just the floppy here. This other icon is just a refresh. So if you shouldn't really need to use that too often. The NEO staff data, it does get updated pretty instantly because it's all within the same module. So let's say you see somebody and you go into NEO staff and you make an adjustment to their position or their degree or something, those should get reflected immediately on these reports. So it's another good thing to know. But essentially, this report, the courses, it gives you all the information about the staff member. As you can see, it goes right across, start date, position. It lets you know if it is an EPS position or not, their years of experience, and so on. The unique fields in this report are going to be the courses and the grades. So those are only going to be applicable to teachers, so classroom teachers. So this essentially this report is important because when you go to do your staff certification, usually up in October, November, there's a field over here to the far right that says needs review. And if there is anybody in your school that needs review in this column, you're going to need to address that before you can certify your staff data. And so if they need review here on this course report, what it means is that there is some incomplete information about the courses they're teaching, or it could also mean that something wasn't done properly with your Maine schools, because the grades that are available for folks to teach when you go to pick their assignment are determined by what's entered into Maine schools. So if at your high school they get it set up, but then let's say they say that they forget to put the grades of that school in, then all of your people that are assigned to that school are going to not have any grades assigned. So that's just one thing to look for, and then that needs review column, like I said, that will come into play during certification time. But it's a pretty straightforward report, just to show you who you have and what they're teaching is the main focus, why you would look at this one. So if we go back, we'll look at the next report down, which is Staff Details Report by FTE. And once again, we'll select Maine Department of Ed. And as you can see, very similar report. We got the same people with the same information. There's Bob again. And like I said, the only difference is that instead of showing their courses and grades, we now see their FTE, salary, stipend, stipend amounts, and if federal funding comes into play for them. So everything else other than that, though, is the same. We do also have a needs review column on this report, and folks can show up on either one, depending on what issues they may be having with their staff assignment. But for this one, if they need review, it's usually that there's no salary or stipend entered. There's also, when setting up an assignment, there's a question that asks if this person works with special education students. And oftentimes that one will just have been unanswered. And that's something that would show up here as well for the needs review. So once again, there can't be anybody that needs review before you can certify your staff data. And you can use this report to look at essentially folks' FTEs and salaries if you want a more digestible, spreadsheet type of version. So other than that, same reports though, both very helpful. The next report is going to be your FTE by person. And this one, we'll select our district we want to look at. And you have some options right here to export it as an Excel or PDF. But this one, you can go back quite a few years with these reports. Whereas it's another good point to know, with the other two reports, this is always going to show you your current year data. And there's no option to go back to prior years with these two, with courses or FTE, because these are exclusively used for the staff certification. So these will always just be the current year, but with this one, the FTE by person, you can go back all the way to 2016 if you'd like. And so we'll just keep it for this current school year. And what the FTE by person does is this is a report that shows you all of your EPS positions, your essential programs and services folks. These are the ones that the state takes into account when determining subsidy. So this basically allows you to look at each one of those positions to see who you have in those positions and how many full-time equivalency hours they are providing to your district. So you would basically select a position, say view report. We've only got one teacher on here, which is going to be blocked out. But as we can see over here, we've got their salary and their actual FTE, which is a 1.0. So that means they're spending 40 hours a week in this teaching position. So this can be helpful when you're trying to make sure that all of those subsidy positions are being properly accounted for, where you can just kind of come in here, you'll only see the EPS positions, and you can really kind of look at them granularly and make sure that everybody is in there properly. It'll show you their degree level and years of experience, which are also factored in the EPS formula. So it's really, this is mainly an EPS report that you can use. Very helpful. And lastly, the other one here is the staff with multiple positions. And we have a similar format to the FTE. You can export it right off the bat, and you can go back quite a few years with this one. So go back to 2020. And looking at this one, so with the Maine Department of Education organization, this test one that we have set up, we don't have, we only have a few folks in there, but none of them have multiple positions. But if there were, it would essentially break it down grouped by person. So we would have John Doe, and then it would list all of John's positions all right next to each other, and then there would be a gray bar separator between him and the next person. And then it'll basically show you all the positions they've got assigned, the amount of FTE for that position, if it's Title I funded, and also if it's an EPS position. So this is just, once again, another quick way for you to see how many hats people are wearing and making sure that they're all accounted for. So just some handy information for you guys when you're trying to analyze your staff data. But that is pretty much these reports. Like I said, the first two very handy for staff certification time, and then the FTE by person, multiple positions, those are handy whenever you want to go look at EPS data. So that is it. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we will see you in the next one.